Hipkiss, and tonight we're joined by Alan Watson.
Evening.
Craig Courtney.
Good evening, all.
Mark Adams.
Good evening, everybody.
Pleasure to be joined again by Adam Wilkes.
Evening, all. Happy New Year.
And the incredibly handsome Chris Brown.
And the one and only Blues legend, probably the best penalty taker I've ever seen at St Andrews, Paul Devlin.
Hey guys, you all right?
Great to have you on, Dev. So it's all over. 15 games later, 83 days later, it's all over for Wayne Rooney as our manager. Devs, let me get your thoughts first, mate. I know you can only join us for 30 minutes, so want to go straight into it with you, mate?
Yeah, I've been asked loads of times today. I've been on the BBC earlier on, and they're asking me loads of questions. It was funny because they asked me about 25 minutes worth of questions. Used a 10-second soundbite about the promotion team of 2002. So it was hardly worth doing, really. But no, I'm both surprised and not surprised. I think from a results point of view, a performance point of view, it had to go, no doubt about it. The bit that made me surprised is obviously the investment that the owners have put into getting him and his backroom staff in will be sizable, I dare say, to say the least. So I thought they may well have stuck with him. It honestly today wouldn't have surprised me if they'd have sacked him or said, we're going to give him to the end of the season. But I just think from a performance point of view, from the relationship that I was going to say formed or didn't form with the fans, I don't know whether he could have swung it round. So it's probably the right decision, I'd say, in hindsight now.
I mean, I always thought during the process that while he was here, from the day he came in, and probably his first game, more or less, you know, I'm thinking, why isn't he playing to the players' strengths? Why is he completely trying to change the way we play with players that, in my opinion, they're just not good enough to do it, are they? You know, you've got average championship players there, with all due respect to the lads. Yeah. And you're trying to play away that just doesn't suit the way they play, does it?
Well, that's the thing. Obviously, you know, nobody can fault Wayne Rooney's playing credentials. No. Same as when Zola came in, really. But what I was surprised at when he's came in, obviously he wants to play a certain way, which is fine. You know, you want to play it from the back and pass. That's great. But surely after watching 2, 3, 4 performances, why has nothing clicked in his mind where he's gone, can't really do that at the moment? Let's go back to doing what got us a little bit of success, which got us up the league under John Eustace. Be a little bit more pragmatic, a little bit more direct. The end of the season, when I've got a little bit more capabilities of getting people out, bringing people in, I've got my own type of player in, I'll look to go back and play that way then. So that's the part where I think, I don't know whether it's stubbornness or what, but, you know, what's the definition of madness? Doing the same thing over and over again and thinking there's going to be a different outcome.
Exactly. The only time he kind of touched upon that was away at Cardiff, wasn't it? And we won that game. He kind of like went back to basics there, and you know, he sort of
in fairness, Cardiff, Plymouth, and Leicester, I don't think were too bad performances. You know, they were decent performances. I think those 3 games. You know, we beat Cardiff. We should have beat Plymouth. Obviously, I thought it was a good performance against Leicester, to be honest with you. And then you're half thinking, well, maybe we've turned the corner a little bit then. And then obviously, you know, it reverts to how it's been prior to that. But, it was a strange one because we can all see that we haven't got the players to play you want to play. Let's go back to doing what we were doing that got us to 5th or 6th in the table. But for whatever reason, you know, himself and the backroom staff chose not to do it.
Exactly, yeah. Alan, let's get your thoughts, mate.
Well, just I got the impression, Paul's right about the games that we looked half decent. And when we did look half decent, it was though he thought, I've cracked it now. I can go back to trying me, you know, all out, whatever it was described as.
No fear football.
And it didn't register with him. You've got the right formula now. Stick to it until you can put the people in there that you want. Stick to the tried and trusted method. Now he's a young man, and his management experience is, with the greatest respect to Derby County, when he went there, he went as player manager, right? And he went there as player manager because he wanted a lot of money to be a player for Derby County, so they threw in the management side of it as to justify his salary, with no experience whatsoever. And then he got too fat and old, so he said, "Well, I'll be the manager now." And the club he was at was in a total mess. Now, it was done for cheating, basically, Derby County, because they fiddled the books. Now, that isn't Wayne Rooney's fault, but that was the kind of atmosphere that he was working in. And suddenly, and DC United, I bet he didn't even know where they played when he went there. You know, DC, Derby County, District of Columbia, it's all the same to him.
Yeah.
And he finished outside the playoffs, which is the equivalent of being relegated here. So he did no good there. And we, with the greatest respect to DC United and Derby County, are a bigger problem, bigger club, bigger entity, and he was thrown into that with no background of being part of anything like that. He was part of a club that was absolutely desperate, to a club that nobody ever heard of, and then he lands at Birmingham City's door at the wrong time. You know, he was never going to be given fair chance because he replaced a popular man who was doing well. So it's just it beggars belief that the decision was made, and I keep hearing said, "Oh, he's been sacked after only 15 games." Well, I'd have sacked him after 4 because it was there as absolute plain as your nose on your face that he hadn't got what he was required to do. Now, one day he's 38. When he's 58, he might be the right bloke because he'll have learned by then. But he never had the credentials to do what Gary Cook expected him to do.
I think these new owners have got enough about them to, well, they've already done it, haven't they? They're obviously, the sacking today is them holding their hands up saying, look, you know, we've got it wrong. You know, we need to make the change again, and hopefully this next person they bring in, you know, will be the right fit and be a lot better than obviously what Wayne Rooney has been. Now, my personal choice would be Steve Cooper from the people that are on the list. That's who I'd like to see. But what about you, Debs? Who would you like to see?
I'm a bit, I like Cooper. I think Cooper would be a good fit. Yeah. To me, if it was me personally, I'd go down the road of an interim manager to the end of the season to keep us up. I think it's, you know, if somebody comes, it says worst case scenario, if somebody comes in now and we go down. He's took us down, whoever that is, not Wayne Rooney, officially. So I just think from somebody coming in, give it someone to the end of the season. Let someone come in when players are out of contract, so we know who's going to be there, who's not going to be there, what the budget's going to be, what he's got to spend. He's then got 6, 7, 8 weeks to work with the squad and start afresh next season. My personal choice, and I'm extremely biased in this, is get Neil Warnock into the end of the season. I've worked with Neil twice, fantastic manager. Got it down the years that he never got a chance at Blues. I know he was close on several occasions because I know for a fact that Karen and David Sullivan really liked him, and I know during Trevor's spell, if it wasn't for the fact that Trevor was Trevor, they would have made the change earlier and give Neil that job at some stage. I just think if you look at his record at firefighting, keeping teams up and getting teams out of the league, there's no one better. I think he'd happily take it to the end of the season, stabilise the ship. One thing he would do, he'd get the lads organised, he'd get them on side, he'd get them working, because if they didn't, they'd be gone. But, you know, the feeling seems to be, no, get someone in there, get someone in there. Again, we spoke about it off air. It's this, we want everything immediately now, fast culture. And yes, you know, Steve Cooper does look a good fit.
Yeah, definitely. Craig, what do you think?
I think, as everybody will know, I was 50-50 up until the games before Christmas. But after Boxing Day, it just looked as though the players didn't have any fight in them. And then, well, the Leeds game, the killer for him at the end of the day was losing the fans. I think, you know, the chants and the abuse at the end of the day that he took at the end of it would have been enough for many managers. I actually believe, same as Devs, that this morning, I'll be honest, I was expecting no, we're backing him. You know, he's going to continue. But then when it came through, and I was told, I thought to myself, actually, this really is what you'd expect off the back of Monday's game and nothing else. going forwards, it is. I'm kind of thinking the same thing really as Devs in terms of let's get somebody here to stabilise things. Then perhaps if there's going to be somebody coming through the door, they come through later on down the line in some way, shape or form, able to stamp a little bit of authority on what's going on so that they can have the pre-season fresh and then be able to build a team around what we all know is going to be a mass clear out at the end of the season. It's going to be a very interesting period because I think you gauge the fans and probably, in all honesty, gauge the players as well. And the one name that stands out at this present moment is back to John Eustace. And I personally don't think it will happen.
No.
I would be very, very, very surprised indeed if that happened. But I think, fans would love him back there. And if he was interim, perhaps that would be a route to take. But I honestly don't know. What I do, what I don't like, first of all, was the statement. He didn't react to the fans. He didn't react to the fans when he was there. So that's, it's wrong in the way that was put across. The other side of it, though, is nobody should take some of the abuse that not only him but his family were taking as well. So I can't condone some of the behaviour of some of the fans, and I never will, because no player, no manager, nobody involved in the club should ever take that abuse. But what I've also seen is people putting abuse at the owners. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I know it's toxic, and it has been horrible. I personally have had people fall out with me because I've had an opinion which was, at the time, you've got to give him a chance. That opinion has changed. But I will never go back to some of the ways and talking of some people. We've got to build afresh. Unfortunately, we've got to start from where we were when John first came through the door, which was we've got a group of fans that partly anti against the club at the moment. We need to get those fans back. We need to build the rapport with the fans and the club, and we need to back the board to make the right decision around who's coming in, because this is probably more vital to them now than the decision of recruiting Rooney, because this, to me, will dictate whether we're in this league or not next year.
Well, do you remember 20-odd years ago, whatever it is, I can't remember, when we're, a big portion of the fans are shouting and screaming to get Sullivan and Gold out?
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for. Yeah. I personally, even now at this moment in time, wouldn't swap where we are now to where we were 18 months ago for anything. New owners have come in, people behind the scenes, look how the ground's moved on, training facilities and all that. We're in a miles better position now than we were 12, 18 months ago before the new owners and the new regime come in. And I think it's important not to lose sight of that. And I go back to Sullivan and Gold, probably the best owners we've had in my lifetime as a 51-year-old man, without a shadow of a doubt. And in my opinion, steady decline really, apart from the odd thing there, the cup and that, steady decline ever since.
Yeah. I think these owners have got what it takes to get it right, though. I think they can get us to where they want to get us to in time, but today they've basically held their hands up, haven't they? They've made that decision, and now they're going to make a change again. But yeah, Adam, mate, good to have you back on. And how you doing?
Thanks, God. I just wanted to know when Craig was talking about then, do you think it would have been any different if he'd have had a full pre-season and his own players in, or would we still be where we are now, do you think?
I think that there'd still have been an element of the fans, because there was, from the first time that his name was announced, there was an element of fans that were anti-Rooney. Perhaps if things had been done differently, and it may have happened in the summer, things may have been different. Either way, though, he'd have had to have hit the ground running, because I still think if he'd have been given a whole pre-season and come in the summer, that element of fans that were anti-Rooney would still have been there. So he was firefighting from the time he came through the door to the time that he left. I think it would have still been the same.
I think ultimately it's a results business, and if he wins game, then he'll get people on his side. That's what it's about.
You're never gonna get every single person on side, are you? There's bound, you say, there's bound to be that element of you're gonna hate him regardless. I know it's a strong word, but a lot of people will hate him regardless. He could go on to another club and have success. People will still hate him. I mean, the level of going back to Friday, the level of toxicity, it was unreal at the end. I mean, whatever you think of him, that was just it was shocking. It wasn't as bad as some were making out. I mean, there was no. I mean, I was sat by. As I said on the chat, my season tickets by the tunnel, and there was no afters. There was no, swearing at the fans at the full time. If anything, they just zipped their jackets up and just walked off and just took it. I don't know about half time in the paddock, but all I can talk about is full time. But I think, I mean, already his CV now is just tainted. I mean, for a 38-year-old now, he's got some really big stains on that CV, and I don't know if he's cut out for management. Full stop. I don't know. I mean, it's still early days, but he's going to have to go right down the pyramid to try and be a success at any level now. Whether he ever will, whether this will put him off for life, to be honest, I don't know. But I must say, I mean, this morning it was like a sense of relief. It was like hopefully it'll reignite us like back in August when we had the fresh start and everything. Hopefully that'll happen again. Like you though, Paul. I'd love Cooper. I think he'd tick every box for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think they still will want the eyes on us in America. I do think that, and whether Steve Cooper's going to give us that, I'm not sure, but somebody like Jesse Marsh wouldn't he? So I don't know whether or not they go down that road. And obviously he's managed in the Champions League, hasn't he? He's managed Leipzig, so, whether or not he'd be any good if he came or if they could get him here, I don't know.
Would anyone, sorry, Paul, would anyone of us on the panel, would any of us take Jesse Marsh, or do you think he's not the right fit for it?
Not over Cooper, I wouldn't.
No, I agree.
Ultimately, like other manager, I'd give him a chance if he came in, and I'd get behind him. He can get results on the pitch, because that's all we want, isn't it? When we go down the Blues, we want to see us win. And obviously, when we play away, we want to win every game. Obviously, that can't happen at the moment, but we want to get to a point where we're like Leicester in this league eventually. But that's going to take a long time, isn't it?
Yeah. And looking at the message boards, you mentioned the names there. So Jess Marsh has come in there, but Cooper, he's the one across all of the message board that everybody is saying that they would like to see come through the door. For me, he's got a great championship record. What he did at Forest was phenomenal, really. Well, they were heading for Division 1, and not only did he get them out of that position, he got them up via the playoffs. And I think I saw a stat earlier, so like 22 wins out of 38 games when he first come through the door. Now, that's brilliant, no matter where you are. Anybody would absolutely take that. What then I do look at is, yes, he kept the team in the Premier League, but how much of what he did was then behind, the recruitment of arguably 2 squads at Nottingham Forest? And I don't know whether that was, his involvement, whether that was the owners or how it works. I will not slate anybody coming through. I'd much prefer Cooper over Marsh, but whoever comes in gets my backing. But I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm there to back the team. The manager is managing that team. I'm there to back the team. I'm there to support the players on the pitch. And I just hope we get back an element of what we've seen in the past.
I mean, going as well, sorry, Paul, but going on about Cooper just for a little bit longer, it's not just his Forest job. I mean, if you look into his background, he did a great job with the young England under-18s, under-17s, he won the World Cup. He took Swansea to the playoffs twice. So I think people are basing their opinion on, he's had millions at Forest, but he didn't. And when he took Forest up, it was a team full of loans. He didn't spend a lot. So,
that's why I'm in Dev's camp really about Warnock, because he's got a track record. He's done promotion 4 times from our league up to the Prem.
Yeah.
So for me, Warnock wouldn't be a bad choice either.
No, not at all.
There's loads of people saying that you should do it, mate.
Yeah.
I ain't got a badge.
Get one. I've got one here.
Yeah, well, let's see. I don't think it'll be long, do you, until they do bring the next person in. I mean, I'd like to think we'll have somebody in for the game at Hull on Saturday, but
no.
I don't know. He did say that Steve Spoon has been put in interim charge in the meantime, but whether they're going to leave it until Saturday week against Swansea or whether they'll get somebody in time, I don't think they'll make a rush decision, will they?
I do find it strange that we've still got Cole and we've still got O'Shea.
Yeah, I find that strange.
Somebody's got to take training, haven't they, in the meantime? So they're probably going to pay him for the next few days, and then obviously they'll go when the next team comes in, won't they? It's a bit like John Eustace. I reckon with John Eustace, the decision was made before the Huddersfield and West Brom games, wasn't it, as well?
So also with the payoff with Rooney, O'Shea and Cole, which I don't know what it is, but it's going to be sizable. So obviously this is going to go towards our FFP and limit what we're allowed to do at the end of the season as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So not only does it, it curtails here and now, it curtails that as well.
Somebody did say that it doesn't impact FFP.
I thought it does. I don't think it does.
Staff is outside of it.
I think it does.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I might be wrong.
Whatever it affects, it's a huge waste of money.
Yeah.
8 million quid could buy us 3 players.
Yeah.
I think we're still playing John Eustace off, aren't we, and his staff?
Yeah, we're paying him off as well.
Yeah.
So,
And sorry, Paul, I was going to say we're still waiting for the confirmation about James going to Italy, haven't we? That might have to
I don't know, but he's been the one player that Rooney's improved since he's been here, because under John Eustace, he didn't really play much, did he? And, he's probably been the only one, I would say, that's benefited from Rooney being here, possibly. But other than that, the rest of them, for me, have been worse than what they were under John Eustace, definitely. Maybe Bakuna, arguably, as well, has had decent games under Rooney, but the likes of Ruddy and Sanderson and Bielik as well, I thought, these players, I thought they were great at the start of the season, but then they've just struggled with this new way of playing, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, Dev's, I'm conscious you got 10 minutes, mate, so... So apart from Neil Warnock, then, who else do you reckon could come in and do a good job?
I think Cooper's a standout one. I think that's the general feeling, and I'd agree with that. Obviously, Potter, I think, would be good. Tony Mowbray, people like that would be good. I'm saying for Warnock, and that is purely interim. But I don't see Warnock as a long-term thing. I see him as a stabiliser for this season. So Cooper, Potter, Mowbray, that sort of person. I think I'd like. Jesse Marsh would be for me, if I'm being honest. I think towards the end of his last couple of jobs, he became a figure of fun, a Ted Lasso type character. That's always going to be levelled at him with him being an American coach and the way he speaks in interviews. I don't think we need that at this moment in time.
No.
And I just think that the other people that I mentioned would be better suited to pick up.
Have you watched Ted Lasso, Deb?
I watched the first series, yeah.
Who's the closest player you ever played with that was Roy Kent?
I don't know, man. There's a few. Probably a Lou Cisse. He was miserable. So probably
But no, we all want this next. We all want this next appointment to work so badly, don't we? Because like we're saying, all this money that we've now thrown at sacking managers and that, and all this compensation we're having to pay out, it's so important that this next man is the right man, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
I still don't think for a minute we'll cut down. I think this might just give us the bounce to.
No, I don't think so either.
I just can't see us in the bottom 3. I
don't think the club will allow it. I don't think they won't allow it.
And if the next 15 games produce the same amount of points as the last 15, we will be down.
Yeah,
simple as that. That's a pure statistical fact.
Somebody was saying today, I don't know, I haven't looked at the stats of that. We need 8 wins. Somebody was saying they're calculating we need 8 wins to be sure. Well, it's 8 wins from 20 games, so that would mean over the last sort of whatever 20 games, we'd have to quadruple our win rate to be safe.
Absolutely.
So we're not, how many times have you said it now? Too good to go down. You've seen it with plenty of teams. So, I'm in your camp. I don't think it's a give me that we stay up on current form.
No. We've flirted with it so many times, haven't we?
Yeah. So you can't keep flirting with it year in, year out, like we have over the last 7, 8, 9 years. Eventually you get caught. Ask Derby, ask Forest, ask Sheffield, eventually it gets you.
No, definitely. So Happy New Year, by the way, to all of our viewers out there. Hope everyone had a good Christmas as well. So that's it really, isn't it? I mean, Rooney is no more, and we just wait to find out who they're bringing in next. And I think when the dust has settled a bit with Wayne Rooney, I think he'll look back on this and think maybe I could have done things a bit differently. Hopefully he'll learn from it, because being a young English coach, obviously, I not just with being a big England fan as well, obviously, I want to see not just the next crop of players coming through, but the next crop of young English managers as well. And we don't really have many of those, do we, that have been successful over recent years. So, I do wish him well if he goes anywhere else in the future, but The way
I think you made a good point there, Paul. I think if you look now at that current crop, Lampard, Gerrard, Rooney, now the golden generation, they've all, I'm not saying failed because obviously they're still only young in terms of managers. They're all struggling. They're all struggling, aren't they? Really, or they have struggled.
Yeah. And then you could go back to Gary Neville as well and Paul Scholes.
Yeah, Valencia and stuff. Yeah.
Alan Shearer tried it as well, didn't he, at Newcastle for a bit, and it just didn't work, did it? So I hope that one day we do get a manager that comes in that's just retired from playing that is like the English version of Pep Guardiola. Yeah. So, but yeah, Debs, I'll let you go, mate.
Okay, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, Debs.
Cheers, Deb. All the best.
All the best. Speak to you again soon. All right, mate.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, man.
That was Paul Devlin. So pleasure to be joined by Debs, and good to see he's on the mend after his recent hip surgery as well. So
hip hooray.
The comment that's come across all of the message board as he was dropping off. Just to go back to some of these that are on the message board, actually, people referencing various names, and all of the old boys in terms of decent footballers and being managers, everybody's agreeing. There isn't really one at the moment that has stood out as actually going through and being given a crack. What is interesting is a comment that I've seen in regards to a name that we haven't seen mentioned, but actually is doing well in the management side of things, and that's Darren Carter. And people are saying, does he deserve a crack? And personally, I think he's still plying his trade and learning with the ladies. One day, maybe.
It's a big step up, though, Craig, isn't it? It's a big step up, don't you think?
Massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
So you're given the opportunity, though. You don't know. We could just have the right man in the club already, but I think that our owners definitely want the American eyes on us as well at the same time, because we do need to make revenue, don't we? We need to bring in more revenue to get from, like, obviously we saw at the open house, didn't we? We want to get from the red to the green, and we want to get there as soon as possible. And I do think there's part of me that do thinks that that they've tried to do a little bit too much too soon. Maybe what they've done on the stadium in a short space of time is absolutely incredible. But maybe on the playing side and on changing the manager so soon. And I know when a club gets taken over, they usually do like to bring their own man in. But they're probably with the style of play and everything and the players we got, I just think they tried to do too much too soon.
Sorry, Mark. Just changing the subject slightly, and to reiterate a lot of comments that have hit the board. Huge condolences to a friend of the show, Paul Tate, on the passing of his mother that he's announced not long before we went live on air. So condolences from all of us at Tilton Talk, and Tate, we're thinking of you, as I know the fans are as well. So sorry to interrupt, Mark.
I was just going to say that it's probably a learning sort of trajectory for them as well. The board. I mean, this is all brand new to them, so they are going to make mistakes along the way. Hopefully, I think we were patient enough to put up with them. It'll be interesting how if this no fear football is applied to somebody like, for argument's sake, Steve Cooper. I could be wrong, but I don't think he plays that way, does he?
I don't know. I just don't like this no fear football phrase personally. I think away from it.
It's almost like a brand in itself, and it's just it's not.
Do we think in any way that it's kind of motivated the opposition when they've come to St Andrews and played against us? With this,
of course, it must have.
Yeah, of course it has.
Yeah, they know exactly how they're going to play.
But not only that, this no fear football. I mean, it's kind of like when the opposition are going out, they're thinking, right, okay, show us your no fear football. Then it kind of gives you that extra spring in your step to go and beat us, doesn't it? When you're playing against us, I think when you're an opposition player.
They're basically saying, let's take the lead.
I got the impression that Leeds and Stoke kept the ball as long as they could, knowing that if they were patient enough, we'd drop a rick and they would score. Let's keep the door bolted behind us. We'll keep the ball and we'll prod and probe, and eventually something will click. And the Leeds game particularly, 34 minutes, I'm thinking, we might get something out of this. We're looking half decent. We broke a couple of times. our goalkeeper has had nothing to do, and then somebody here have the ball. And we're not talking about giving the ball away in their third. They're giving the ball away in our third. Two passes, bang, it's in the net. And then when we repeat against Leeds, we repeated the dose within 3 or 4 minutes. And instead of walking in at half-time thinking we got an half decent chance here, we're 2-0 down and out the game.
Yeah. Sorry, Al. When you look back on these last 15 games and the goals we've conceded, if it's not an individual mistake, a lot of the goals are on the counter into that through ball that kills us every time.
Yeah.
They're all very similar, the goals that we conceded.
It's this tippy-tappy football at the back as well, trying to play out and then giving it straight away, and then we're on the back foot.
Yeah, it just don't work. I mean, the amount of times we tried to do it against Bristol City the other night, I think about 12 times, every single time, the ball would get to them.
Yeah, we got away with one there.
Ball's just coming straight back every time. So,
and to be honest, Paul, you're sick of seeing away fans have the easiest away game they've had all season, because they're just the away and they're just enjoying it every week, and you get sick of it. It's so easy for them.
I think Raoul Berry has put on the message board who would want the job under pressure from day one.
Of course,
I've got to turn around and say, in the current position, I don't think they'll be short of applicants that will want to come to the club, knowing what the owners want to do.
Yeah, their ambitions.
What I do think is the person coming through has also got to be given the opportunity to embed a style of football that meets the players' abilities that we have today. And, we do go back to John Eustace at the beginning of the season, and what he did, he got the best out of the crop that he had in front of him. But that was because Paul, still in a saying I know you've said many times, he played to their strengths.
Yeah.
And whoever comes through the door now has got to do exactly the same. Perhaps the owners have got to step back and go, can't do it now, but let's see what we do in the future. Let's get safe now and then build.
If you was a manager,
wasn't pretty football, was it?
Sorry, Adam. If you was the manager of a band, you wouldn't get the drum player to sing, would you? You wouldn't get the drummer to sing. You wouldn't get the guitarist on the drums, would you? And you wouldn't get the bass guitarist on the electric guitar either.
Phil Collins took over the singing from Peter Gabriel. Sorry, I digress.
Half of our audience won't know who he is, Chris.
Thank you.
We got 3 names on the list that have managed us before. Obviously, I know Lee Carsley was only with us for a couple of games as interim. And then you got John Eustace and Gary Rowett. And given the choice of those 3, who would you rather see come back?
Oh, crikey.
No, I'd love to see Rowett. But the reason I'd love to see Rowett is I think he'd bring Robbo with him. And I think we need somebody that knows what makes us tick. Whoever comes through next has got to have, for me, somebody that's Blues linked in their backroom staff to make us tick, or take advantage of the people that are at the club now, the Skips, the Liam Baishes, the Taties. They know what it means to us as fans.
I'm a bit on the fence with that, Craig, to be honest, because we've already got Craig Gardner above, who knows the club, who can give the impression to the next manager, look, this is what we're about. Mike Taylor has been with us before and he's still with us now. I don't really think the manager needs to have that link, or even his assistant, to be honest. That's just my opinion.
I think, having said that, though, most of the most successful managers we've had here, apart from Alex McLeish, obviously, have been ex-players, haven't they?
Brucey, I suppose.
Yeah.
Brucey, Trevor was a good manager for us as well. And, Lee Bowyer did okay at times as well. I know he had a bit of a disaster towards the end, but he did do okay as well when he first came in. And obviously Gary Rowett as well. So Gary
Kevin
Rowett,
Kelly has said, if we're going to rewind, how about Houghton?
Yeah. The manager of a national team now, isn't he? I think he's just in the African nations. He's just starting up in that. But
Ghana, isn't it?
Gaz Palmer here as well. Gary Monk is mentioned from Gaz Palmer, and again, he wasn't sacked for football reasons. He did a great job on the pitch.
Monk still lives.
Yeah.
Well, I think he probably lives closer to the training ground now than he ever did before.
Right, okay.
And the fans loved him, didn't they?
He was the manager who got he was the manager who got a striker scoring over 20 goals for us for the first time in 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So him and James Beattie obviously on the training ground, and they definitely played to the players' strengths and got the best out of them. And you never know if he came in again. I'm not saying he's not even on the list, but if he did, he might be able to get a Djukovic and Stansfield partnership going on for 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, do you think
for Warnock as well coming through on the message board at the moment?
I was going to say,
on Stansfield. Did he stay in?
I was just about to say that. Yeah,
I don't know. Obviously, he
I think
played
he's more
yesterday.
likely to stay now than he was yesterday.
Yeah. Unless the deal's been done.
I'm all for. I mean, what Dev said. Get maybe Neil Warnock in until the end of the season, just to stabilise us, and then I think it's probably a better time to bring in your long-term solution in a pre-season rather than halfway through a season. And I think maybe they'll learn that as well from when they employed the last manager. That could be the case, but my gut feel is I think they will bring in their long-term solution. They'll bring the next manager in as a long-term solution, and they won't just bring an interim manager until the end of the season. That's what my gut feel is.
Yeah,
I'm like that. Who thinks they've already decided?
Say again?
Who thinks that they've already decided? I
think
personally
so, yeah.
think they've got their person already.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it's a done deal. It's done.
Does anyone think it was decided before the Leeds game?
Yes.
It was decided a week ago at a famous hotel.
Yeah.
The Savoy.
Yeah.
I know that's where you normally go, Mark, but no.
No, he's only used to the holidays or Ibis.
Is it the Formula One by St Andrews?
That's not there, is it? It's still there.
I think he's still there, isn't it?
Is it?
No, it's just the Ibis.
Is that the one with the red light outside in the window?
I don't know what you're thinking of there, Chris.
It's one that Paul normally goes to, isn't it?
You're thinking of Gillett Road. That's not far from Audrey Road either.
Yeah, from the list anyway, my choice is Steve Cooper. That's who I'd choose.
Yeah.
But it's whether or not he wants to come here and it's a very similar thing to what he did at Forest, isn't it, really? Taking it up from the bottom end of the champ. But it's whether or not he wants to go back to that, isn't it? Or does he want to hold out for a job in the Premier League? But,
I think he's got a point to prove. And that's what I would like about Cooper is he's gone from Forest, but the Forest fans were still singing his name after he'd been sacked.
Yeah.
Now that tells you absolutely everything. The fact that the fans loved him and that was an ownership decision, which some people will argue has paid off because actually they're playing some decent football and getting some good results at the moment. But it's still Cooper's team. So the thing is, I'd love to see him for what he's done in the past, and I really do think he's got a point to prove, to a fair few people out there. However, if it's all been, read into, we've got a lot of competition in terms of if Crystal Palace come knocking on the door and it was out of us or Crystal Palace, I think he'd probably take Palace in the Premier League. I hope I'm wrong, but I really do hope we see him coming through the door.
He's more of a fan's favourite and more approachable than a Warnock would be, wouldn't he? I think.
I think Warnock is a great person for a team. He is a really good motivator. Yeah. But he also, when you look at some of the teams that he's managed, he really has alienated the fans. I work with a Middlesbrough fan, and they said the same thing. He was great whilst he was there, and he really motivated the team. But boy, did he rack the fans off. And that's one thing we don't need at the moment. We need people to pull us together rather than, pushing us further away.
Yeah. Also, need results on the pitch. That's the main thing. Yeah. I'm happy with where the club's at off the field now. I think we're in good hands. But we've just got to be in the right hands on the pitch. Yeah. And we've got to start getting results and getting results quick as well. Because if we carry on this trend of losing, and the odd draw here and there and defeat, and then the odd win maybe once every now and again, then we are, like Alan said earlier, if the next 15 games are like the last 15 games, the reality is we will be in the bottom three, and that has to improve.
And I'll give you another little statistic. If the next 15 games produce 20 points rather than 10, we'll still be in shit.
Is that
right? Need to edit that one, Chris.
Oh, try. You're supposed to let me know when that happens.
The message boards, people are saying, Tony Mowbray, realistic pick. He's got a point to prove. Jim Woodwist is saying, according to Sky Sports, Cooper is waiting for a Premier League vacancy. There's a no to Warnock from Kathy Harris. There's a few people again that are saying Eustace. Again, others backing Cooper. And Bill Mint makes a good point. He is still local, so it'd be a good fit.
Yeah, another name that hasn't been mentioned is Ralph Hasenhüttl as well, the old Southampton manager.
Yeah,
he did a good job. He did a good job there. He had the big 9. I think it was 9-0. He lost at home to Leicester. He recovered. He recovered really well from that, didn't he? He sort of like got him on a good run after that.
To be honest, Paul, he finished mid-table. I was having a look. I think he finished 11th.
Yeah, he did.
That's decent. He might not be a massive name, but
when you look at where Southampton are now since he's left, he didn't relegate him, did he? I don't think.
No, he didn't. He was sacked when they were 17th, I think.
Yeah. Was it Nathan Jones that took him down?
Nathan Jones.
So I mean, I wouldn't mind him either if he could, come in and stabilise us and get us. I mean, I'm not bothered about playing good football as long as we win. I was going to say get us playing some good football. If we play well and win, then that's a bonus. But I'd rather have a stinker and win than playing well and losing.
Going back.
Was just joined, sorry, Mike, and he said nobody's mentioned Scott Parker.
No, that's another name on the list.
Right, that's a shout, isn't it?
Took Fulham to the Premier League, didn't he? Yeah. That's what we want. We want somebody who's got something, on their CV of where we want to get to. Someone who's done it, been there and done it. That's maybe in their early 40s as well, like Scott Parker or Steve Cooper. I don't know how old Ralph Hasenhüttl is. I'd say he's probably a little bit older. But again, somebody in their late 40s to mid 50s, maybe you'll be okay as well. For the long-term solution, I'm saying, but I think Neil Warnock would be okay if he came in from now until the end of the season as an interim. If they go down that road, but I don't think for a second they're going to do that.
No, I don't think they will. The only thing about Mowbray as well, I think I've read that Mowbray's happy up north. He doesn't want to come back further than Yorkshire. Because his kids are all settled and stuff, so I don't think he'll come back to the Midlands, to be honest. So I don't know.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Only time will tell.
Neil Warnock lives in Cornwall.
No, Mowbray. What about Mowbray?
I know. Well, I'm talking about travelling.
Oh, Neil Warnock will go anywhere for money.
If you want the job, you'll move. You'll do what you need to do, won't you?
Yeah. You move. You move.
Obviously. Well, people's opinions on any business in the transfer window.
Well, there hasn't been any, has there? That's what is making me think that the deal is done, because otherwise you'd have been hearing about rumours and whatever. And obviously, whoever's coming in has kept that under wraps. So it was one of the signals that told me that Rooney's days were numbered, because you would have thought he would have been talking, and the club would have been talking about approaching this or idea about that, but there was none. There was a couple of people I'd never heard of, and loan deals that might happen, but we got a new manager who was desperate to bring his own players in, yet no mention in the news or anything, no speculation, nothing. And then, so is that job being done by somebody else? Has already penciled in, well, when I get the job, I'll get him. Who knows? But
I think the JJ stuff
is strange that we've had no rumours or anything, suggestions.
Yeah, just exit rumours, really.
Well, exactly.
JJ coming out today could be, dare I say, part of a deflection because of what's going on. I mean, if Atalanta have come in and offered that amount of money, that to me is an absolute snip based on the way he's playing at this present moment. He's better for me than what was it? I think €4.5 million was what was being quoted.
Yeah,
to me. Don't get me wrong, he's not a finished article, but he has really proven what he can do at the moment, and I think he's worth more than that. However, if he was to be sold and that was to allow people then to bring in other players, you'd have to look at it. But I think the bigger earners have got to go first for me. You get rid of get rid of Etheridge, for example, and you can get 2 goalkeepers on for the same salary probably as what we're paying him. So
I saw a list where Etheridge was our top earner. I saw a list of Blues wages, and he was our top earner. He ain't playing. So, yes, I mean, he's got to go, hasn't he?
And Hogan, I would have thought Hogan's another
Hogan's pretty well paid as well.
Yeah.
So here's a question. When we got 20 minutes to go at 0-0 at home to Bristol City and he's bringing Oliver Burke off the bench to play up front, would you rather see him coming off the bench or Scott Hogan?
Hogan.
Yeah, definitely Hogan.
At that point in time, Hogan.
Burke can go now. The Monday was just an example for me of him starting the game, and I probably counts on one hand how many times I heard his name mentioned. He was just totally out of it, and he hasn't shown anything. As Claire's highlighted, you see more of him on Instagram than you do of him on the pitch. So he's a loan. He's one of these people that I'm sure we can cancel that loan, and that's another space. But again, I agree, Watto. It's this person, whoever it is that's coming in, must have an idea of what they want to do and what they can do. So therefore, are we holding fire? Are there another set of little gems? Is Gardner working his magic like he has done with other players? I did see a comment earlier on the board actually saying Craig Gardner's job's got to be at risk because he's brought these players in. I think there's, to me, nothing behind that whatsoever. He may have brought the players in, but they can do it when they need to, turn it on when they need to.
83 days ago, we didn't. The players that he and anybody else who's involved had brought in, we were more than happy with. They were doing all right. Well, there was questions. Obviously, the Burke had hardly made an appearance then, had he? And he's the only one you think, why on earth did you buy him? Or but everybody else, Miyoshi, Dreme,
I think Sanderson's had the biggest dip in form.
They've all nosedived, and I just saw another interesting statistic that Mr. Eustace did not have the use of the 2 fullbacks who were the best in the league at the time. One got injured, one got suspended, and then got injured, and he still managed to win games without them. And he got the Dremes and the Iwoos to replace them, and the other guy, of course, is Kevin Long. A rumour is that he upset the manager and he got benched forever, like he was never going to play again. But we had to bring him in this week because they're dropping like flies. Now let's rewind. Now whoever comes in starts picking a team with Langin, and picking a team with Buchanan in, and picking a team with Long in. All that defence looks half decent, doesn't it? It look what we had the other night. We had placed a centre half at right back, a left back at centre half, a left winger at left back. Is that gonna hold one of the best teams in the division? No, it's not. But going back into 3 months ago, our defence was rock solid.
Yep.
Rock solid.
Good comment.
And I know we lost people through injury, but
Laird was
the people that came in did a half decent job. So we weren't suddenly panicking.
I think even in the games we lost under John Eustace, we were unlucky, weren't we? I remember Preston away.
Preston away. Watford was a joke.
Watford.
0-0 going into injury time. We lose 2-0 with 10 men.
Yeah. And we were unbeaten at home as well, weren't we? Although we should have probably beat Millwall and QPR on the days, But again, we played okay in those games. QPR weren't brilliant, but it's kind of like some of these games that we didn't get the 3 points. You wouldn't have argued if we did. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't have complained. Well, we certainly would have complained if we did, but you know what I mean. We would have said
put 5 up, didn't we?
Yeah, we drew more than we lost as well under Eustace.
Yeah. Good comment from Kevin Kelly. Yeah, this squad is good enough for a top 10 finish with the right coach. I think I agree with him. I think it is. I think it could finish maybe 8th, 9th, 10th, something like that. If they get, if the next appointment is right and he can get us on a good run, hopefully we'll get that new manager bounce as well.
Hopefully, yeah.
And Kevin Kelly's also just said Gary Cook has not been at the last couple of games, so has he been working on lining up the new manager? I to be honest, there was a lot of questions asked earlier on. Who pulled the trigger? And I tell you what, I honestly believe it was Cook.
I think it's a joint thing. I do. I think Wagner, Cook, Tom Brady's probably involved in it as well, and Craig Gardner. Mm. But yeah,
I think
it wouldn't be one man, would it?
No. But I tell you what, if it was Cook, and if he does come out as he has done in the past and make his statements, then I applaud him, because to me that's about holding your hands up. I've made a mistake. As long as they're bringing the right person this time around. Mm. I'm not going to say all's going to be forgotten, because people won't. There's already people saying he should be next. Yeah. No, old owners, they never, ever, ever apologised. They never held their hands up. But if he was to do that, that gets a lot of plaudits from my side of things. If you can admit to your mistakes and you do something about it, happy days.
In hindsight now, how many points better off do you think we'd be now if we hadn't sacked Eustace with the run of fixtures that we've had in the last 15 games and all the injuries as well? Not that I'm sticking up for Wayne Rooney, by the way, but I'm just saying, asking that question.
Wouldn't be a massive amount, would it?
I don't think so.
We got 18 points from 11 games. That's nearly 2 per game.
Mm.
We'd have 45 to 50 points by now.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think it picks up? So out of the last 30 points, then, how many do you reckon we would have got? Rooney got 10.
Another 10 at least.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 3 wins and a draw out of 15 games.
Yeah. Yeah. So we probably would have beat. We might have beat. Probably would have beat Rotherham at home, wouldn't we, under Eustace? And maybe even
we would have thought so. Yeah. We wouldn't have let 2 goals slip against Plymouth and Ipswich.
Yeah.
Because he'd have put the bloody shutters up. And we'd have all been moaning, saying he's too negative. Whatever.
To be honest, Al, as well, I think Coventry were there for the taking. I didn't think Coventry were nothing special. So I think we could have got a point there.
You've just upset your neighbours.
I'll say it louder then. We should have had a win there.
The message boards, vast majority are saying that I think it'll be between 7 and 10 additional points if we were still under Eustace. Yeah. And
that put us in the league, about 16.
Good question.
About 10,
in fact, we wouldn't be much further off, I don't think, from where we are now.
Oh.
No.
15, 16 maximum.
Yeah.
That's where we are as a club. We've got to be realistic.
Yep.
That's where we are.
Yeah. So that's why that goes back to my point earlier about trying to do too much too soon with the squad of players that we've got. They should have just stayed away from this no fear football nonsense and just focused on just getting the results. However which way it took to win on a Saturday afternoon or a Tuesday night, just send the players out there to do it and instruct them to play a way that suits them. And stop getting them to play this no fear football, which they're just,
We've got to do something that's going to unite the fans as well, because there's never ever been this sort of division. It's just
horrible.
vile. It's horrible. It really is horrible. And that's what I think. That's what I think they'll do. I think the appointment will be somebody to appease the fans.
Yeah, it's got to be. But again, ultimately, if that man comes in and he loses his first 3 or 4 games,
they'll turn on him.
Exactly, yeah. So it's just all about the result. You've just got to pick up points on the pitch. That's what we've got to start doing.
It's a result.
I always remember what Alec McLeish said when he arrived at Birmingham, and they said about the pressure, and he said, I was manager of Rangers. If you didn't win every game, you were in trouble.
Yeah.
Now that's pressure.
Yeah.
Now he had the right because he'd had that experience in life. The pressure didn't bother him because it was just part of the job. Now, I would think somebody like Steve Cooper has gone through that pressure syndrome.
Warnock definitely will have.
Would have.
Definitely.
Tony Mowbray definitely would have. And there's
Has Tony Mowbray got a promotion on his CV?
Who?
Tony Mowbray's he actually got
he took Albion up for, I think.
Albion,
Albion.
Put the baggies up, did he?
Yeah. Champions, I think, as well.
Yeah. That's a long time ago now, though, isn't it? How long ago was that?
Early 2000s, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2004, 5.
4 or 5.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah.
What's the name of the Watford manager?
Oh, Rangnick, that one.
No, he's Brummy.
Oh, sorry.
He was manager of Forest Green before Watford, and he was talked about coming to us, but he didn't. He went to Watford. Oh, what's his bloody name?
Elton John.
Hey?
You're not on about the guy who's at Luton. Isn't that the guy who's at Luton now? Is he at Luton now? Is he still at Watford or is he at Luton now? Does he go to Luton, didn't he?
That's right, Luton. That's right, the guy at Luton.
Yeah, what's his name?
Graham something.
Someone will tell us. Rob Edwards, that's it.
Rob Edwards, that's right.
Thank you.
Graham something.
Graham something. Graham Turley.
That would be my choice.
You reckon we could plug him out?
Can I ask you a quick question? How would everyone approach the cup game on Saturday? Do you reckon it's just play all the kids?
No, I'd go like this.
No.
You want to win?
I think it depends on whether they've got somebody in. If they've got somebody in, that manager is going to want to see what's available to him, and in terms of the players that they've been out there. I mean, who's to say that this person coming through the door hasn't been watching us for weeks? We don't know.
No.
But if they have, they will have done something that Watto said weeks ago. Wayne Rooney didn't, which was he didn't know what he was coming into and what he was going to take on board. Right. So let's hope that this person coming through has taken notes of that. But Saturday for me is an opportunity for a fresh start. You know, whether it's Spooner in charge or the new person.
I'll give you Mark, I'll give you 2 reasons why I want to win on Saturday. The first reason is because in the next round of the Cup, if we do win on Saturday, we might get Man City at home and the club want to bring a lot of money. And the second reason is because we've got a week's rest in between the game on Saturday and the Saturday after.
I mean, it could reinvigorate everyone. That, you know, it could be. I know a lot of people say they're not bothered, but I love the cup and I want to go through. We all do.
I can just address this one as well on YouTube. Mazza says, "Do you know anything about the trouble at the training ground this morning?" This has come up. It's come up quite a bit, hasn't it, on the socials today? But I don't know. I haven't heard anything, and I know people who were at the ground, training ground, and they don't know anything.
I did have information given to me by a fairly reliable source who said he was a friend of somebody who works at the training ground. But that incident happened a month ago. And it was before the Coventry game.
Yeah. I don't.
Neither of the combatants played that night. So I'll leave it to work out who the two were.
And the other question that's been asked numerous times on the board is how many people think that we will suddenly have a lot of players back from injury now?
That's absolutely yes. Yeah. Oh yes, that's the other thing. The old loser's limb, that'll suddenly disappear. Oh, a new manager. Oh, fit, yes. I
think if they don't go down the same sort of training regime, which again you would hope a new manager wouldn't do, then again perhaps some of these injuries that we have been accruing will stop, because they've been so-called muscular injuries. Let's hope they disappear.
Apparently it was the best training session ever this morning, I'm told. So if we do go through the interim and long-term manager, I want to go around the board, give me your interim and long-term. Alan.
Well, if we did go, there's nobody better than Warnock at doing that, is there? So yes, I wouldn't necessarily want to go down that road, but if we did, yes, he would be the man.
And long-term?
Long-term, Cooper.
And Paul?
Interim, I'd agree with Neil Warnock. Long-term, it's probably a bit out of our reach, but I'm going to be, let's say Neil Warnock gets us promoted.
He'll be on my shoulders going through the ball ring if he does.
Short-term 6 months, not 6 years.
No, let's be realistic. I mean, I'm saying let's be realistic. I'm about to say bloody Graham Potter, and but he'd be my ultimate first choice. But other than that, Steve Cooper.
Adam?
I would say Rowett, then Cooper.
Rowett and Cooper. Yeah. Mark?
I'd go with Alan. I'd say Warnock for a Redknapp sort of factor, and then I'd just go for Cooper. I think Cooper would be brilliant.
Great.
So,
But I don't think we're going to get Cooper in 6 months, though, because I think he'll be snapped up. That's the problem. If
Yeah.
we're going to get
Well, we either get him now or we don't.
Yeah.
I think Rowett would be well. Again, Rowett wouldn't want to wait 6 months before he took over, would he?
No, he wouldn't want to be interim either, would he? I don't think Rowett would want to be interim.
Yeah.
Hit the ground running.
What about you, Craig?
My interim would be Eustace, and my long term would be Cooper. But I tell you what, I'd absolutely love, and that's a mixture of the pair of them now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, well, there we go. Paul, it's time to round.
That's a greedy, ain't it, Craig?
You know what though? Dream big, because these owners, I really believe that these owners can pull something like that out the bag if they need to, and so you could have the best of both worlds. You could have a guy that's going to look towards the future, and you could have somebody that's going to unite the squad back again now, who I think the players adored. I really, really do, and perhaps if he'd have had some support in the first, and somebody upstairs to back him that little bit more, we'd still be with him. So why not give it a go with a pair of them?
I think they'll want to raise a lot of eyebrows with the next appointment. I really do, and I think they'll want to make up for their mistake. And a massive statement would be Steve Cooper. It would be.
Yeah.
Nigel Manners said, he's putting it out there, but an interim would be Karanka with Zola on a permanent deal.
oh no.
Who knows? It's Birmingham City. Anything can happen.
Can I quickly go around the board before we say goodnight?
Go on then, quickly.
Where are we at now? Obviously, it's hard to say on the pitch now because obviously Rooney's gone, but where are we at now off the pitch out of 10? I'm going back round with the ratings, obviously, that we did before. So where are we now off the field out of 10? Craig?
After today, 6, but that's only been boosted by this decision today.
And that's off the field?
Off the field, yeah.
That's gone down by, I think you was a 8 or 9, weren't you?
All right, I'm getting it mixed up. I'm not like a div. Off the field. I think they brought themselves back up. I think I said that I dropped from a 9 to a 7 last time. So I'm probably back up. I'm not going to say I'm back up to the 9 levels, but I'll go back up. I'll say at the 8 off the field. If you want it on the field, that'll be my 6.
Yeah, okay. Because they've made one mistake. They've only been here 5 minutes, but they have made one mistake.
It's a bloody big one, though, Paul.
Again?
It's a bloody big one, though.
Bloody big one.
And hopefully they do learn from it, and we all make mistakes. So hopefully they'll, I'd say I'm an 8 still as well. I think I was an 8 before, or an 8.5. So yeah. Alan, what are you?
7.
7. Mark?
8 for me.
Yeah. Adam?
I'm going to say 7, but if Cook comes out and apologises for the mistake and etc., I'll put it back up to an 8.
Yeah. The only way you can apologise for me, Adam, is just by getting the next one right and starting to win some bloody games. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And will they let him choose? I'm about 7. Yeah, about 7.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that's it for tonight, isn't it?
Yeah. Can I just quickly say thank you to all the people on the socials who have been joining me tonight.
Wow, it's been busy.
Absolutely mad. It is absolutely crazy. And if you like the show, share it. Paul?
Quick prediction for Hull? Anybody? Quick prediction?
Prediction? For Hull. Yeah. Quick.
I think it'll be a 3 o'clock kickoff.
and on a Saturday, that's unusual.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 1-1.
If we've got Steve Cooper, I'm going to go 2-0 to Blues. If we've got Steve Spooner, then I'll probably go for 3-1 Hull.
Yeah, but it will be Spooner, won't it?
I don't know.
I think it will be. Yeah, for Saturday.
Yeah, if we get a new manager, Steve Spooner will run the show Saturday with the guy sitting in the stand, and he'll run down at half time and give him a bollocking.
Two bleeps. Yeah, Dave Twine said his prediction is it's going to be rained off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Mark, did we get your prediction?
I'll say we'll get a replay 1-1.
1-1
If there aren't any replays?
No, there ain't none.
There isn't then, third round.
I didn't think there was. I thought third round was straight.
No, it's after.
It's fourth round.
I don't know, actually. I think we won one after 90 minutes, put it that way.
I think there is replay. I'm sure there is replays in the FA Cup.
We played Blackburn in replay, didn't we?
Yeah. Anyway, we've been the Tilton Talk Show. We've been the Tilton Talk Show. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're sponsored by Small Affordable Cars in Tamworth, by the way, as well. So it's good night from me, and it's good night from Craig Courtney.
And it's good night from me, and it's good night from Mr. Wilkes.
Good night from me. It's good night from Mr. Robe.
It's good night from me. It's good night from Mr. Brown.
And it's good night from me, and it's good night from Alan.
And it's a good night from me, and it's a good night from Paul.
And it's good night from me, and good night from all of us. Thanks for watching. Keep right on and keep the faith.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Billy Bob.
Thank you also to Paul Devlin for joining us tonight as well.
Of course, yeah. Hip hip hooray! I gotta say that again. Where's Claire anyway?
He's got laryngitis, I think.
He's got idolitis.
Tuesday, and he do things part time.
Yeah, 100%.
I did tell her she'd just put a face on that dude.
Where's that American fella?
Yeah, I wanted to ask him about the cricket on in Texas.
That's supposed Father Christmas is coming again, is it?
What's you?
That was my beat, that was.
Next year's my year.
That's right, we keep saying 2025. Mark, did your friend come at Christmas?
Friend?
Friend?
You haven't got any, have you?
Friend.
My imaginary friends are right behind me every step of the way.
That's your shadow.
I'm not going to finish it with a belch. Good night.